So I was wrong. Holy, my ghost. There's not much I could do about that. Let me see if I could fix that in a second. Let's see. This is the best you're gonna get from me. It is 2:12 p.m. I woke up this morning to throw out the garbage, and I thought, oh, I could go to sleep and wake up again, cook up some food, and maybe play Anthem. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm necessarily wrong. It was just a theory I had. The theory was wrong. Let me take this off. I don't need to listen to myself speaking. Wow, that is very abysmal. Doesn't help. It's snowy, big snowy, bright outside here. I don't have any blankets to hide out the thing. You just have to look at me with a very dark camera here. About 45 minutes ago, I want to say the server shut down. I got up. Well, when I got up, I launched the game just to see if the servers were still up. The servers were still up after the daily reset. So, a little heads up would have been nice. I would have streamed for a couple hours while the server shut down. I never got to try that fourth javelin, and I possibly never will, unless someone buys out the source code from EA, or they make a private server, something like that. Maybe they'll make an offline mode. If the stop killing games movement is able to get some studios to budge. I even brought down my iPad, and I was like, I don't need it. I'm not playing a game. So this is gonna be a short one. I've spoken a lot about the game on, I think, the second day. I've spoken a lot just in general about the game. You know what? Let me put this camera right now. See if I could center that. This is really really unprofessional. I guess this is the best you can get. Chat's still there, but I don't think anyone's gonna be joining in. I forgot to change the category to just chatting because this is an anthem. This is an anthem. Let me get the chat up here. So, um, yeah, Anthem's gone now. I didn't get to finish I got to finish the story at least. I didn't get to do that legendary. I didn't get to try the other strongholds. I gotta say, let me talk about the good about the game. I think the universe they've created there is very interesting. The universe they created is very interesting. I'm getting a sense of like a hidden post-apocalyptic, right? A sort of post-apocalyptic that they aren't aware of. They probably don't have the history. They have a long history. Like, it's clear that they have a long history, but it's not clear whether or not they know anything, because they get around with like striders. They have javelins. That's the only things that I could say are capable of flight for them. They're they don't have much to deal with their heat. It's clearly not Earth, so it's kind of interesting. A lot the factions are kind of interesting. I liked the story for the most part. The story was actually pretty good. I liked the interactions with the NPCs. Um, that's something Destiny could improve upon. You know, a bit of that interaction with the NPCs. I know they added rudimentary sort of text based stuff like that with the Edge of Fate, but yeah, the gameplay is actually really fun. The gameplay itself is fun. Uh, Sometimes it did feel a little restrictive, but I think overall the gameplay was fun. The flight mechanic was actually fun. Um, I'm just thinking a little. I didn't prepare for this. I wasn't expecting to wake up and not have the game up because the servers were up. I guess they just chose a random time. This is always a possibility. So whatever. At least I don't have to wake up at 5:50 tomorrow morning to see the end. Uh, I saw a clip of when it shut down. It's not like it was anything like super. It's not like it was anything super um, uh, extraordinary. It just sort of cut to white and then you're kicked out of the server. I confirmed that I already uninstalled the game. Like I have zero reason to keep it installed on my PC. But yeah, it was an interesting game, and there was a lot, and I cannot stress this, a lot of potential in that game. A lot of potential in the game. I saw a lot of potential. If it had gone, if it continued, it would have been within the likes of Destiny and Warframe and Final Fantasy 14 Online or whatever it's called, uh, and probably World of Warcraft with the with that big scale. And I've said it in the previous stream. It has a lot that I'd say like Destiny lacks. You know, like I said, the interactions with that, the very menial things that you could just mess around and do whatever around the area. Destiny's kind of rudimentary in that. It's just, oh, here's patrols, here's some bounties, here's they used to have adventures. They only have adventures with the final shape, and those are part of the campaign. So let me just blow my nose real quick. Anyways, so yeah, very nice gameplay. I like the way that the they play the javelins have a very fun feel to them. Each of them are very unique. I can't say for the fourth one. I forget what what it was even called, but that one I think I had essentially a rudimentary experience with it at the beginning. Is I think that's the poster child javelin. You know, I tried all except for the poster child one, so I'd imagine it's pretty much the same deal. It's just more of the one that you started with. So to that end, I'd say that one was still fun to use. Um, the game, aside from this, the blinding white light, it looks beautiful. Looks beautiful. Leaps and bounds better than some games. And yeah, I I liked the world building that was happening with the story and all that. And uh, as cringe as you always think it's cringe at the beginning, as that the how do I say it? The interactions with the characters were. It grew on me, and it started becoming. It was kind of fun. It was kind of funny, a fun time. With the characters, pretty good characters. I know that's definitely Bioware's forte. They're known for that with their Mass Effect series and Dragon Age and all that. Um, So, and I want to speak a bit on the my blaming EA. I still think EA's mostly to blame. They probably rushed out uh, the game when it wasn't ready, uh, and I mentioned it on Twitter, and someone replied to me and told me that it shut down because it would have taken another couple of years for them to be completed to finish what they were working on, and I'm not sure how true that is. That's just one person, but like they were working on Dragon Age and all that. They needed to work on Dragon Age, and even then, Dragon Age was clearly not good enough for EA because they slashed they gutted the studio. Wikipedia states there's less than 100 people in at BioWare now. Which that tells me skeleton crew. I don't think they're developing any games right now with less than 100 people with the scale that they usually do. Who knows? We'll have to see after the acquisition or whatever, after EA goes private, what goes on with BioWare. Maybe they'll restructure them. Maybe they'll bring them back. Maybe they'll shut them down. Who knows? But yeah, a lot of that was fun. Now with the bad, there's quite a bit. Uh, there's a very off balance between the javelins, and I know they're for different purposes. But you could see the last stream and probably the stream before that. I was mostly using my Colossus because it gave me an insane amount of health. Now I'm not sure if that was a bug or if that was intended, but where I was having trouble with the storm, and even further trouble with the interceptor. The Colossus was just able to ram through things, and my reasoning for keeping to use the Colossus instead of the Storm or the Interceptor, which I especially liked the gameplay of, was because it helped me complete things faster so that I could get this done over and done with, right? So I could get my full experience of Anthem, which over time, that sort of mentality doesn't let me have that full experience of Anthem because I didn't get to experience too much. But I was trying to level up as fast as possible to get the story cleared, so I could maybe look back on it one day and see, oh, that was a nice thing. It was a fun experience. Um, that was that. There was the campaign format. The massive fetch quest in the middle of the game was not fun. And there was a lot of roadblocks. There was like a lot of walls that you had to face to progress the story. Um, and I think that has to do with the fact that they weren't ready to release the game. And I think that's especially evident with the ending. It kind of just felt like they wrote whatever ending they could that would make it make sense. And then they no, actually, scratch that thought that I was about to pull because I forgot. But like the Heart of Rage, uh, I was led to believe it was like some massive, mega, huge thing that was gonna block the thing, and there was gonna be a massive trial, and all we had to deal with was a giant version of the Monitor. We don't even know who he is. There's no lore on who he is other than he works for or is the leader of the Dominion. That guy who brought that there, they never touched on that. I guess a lot of the information, a lot of the stuff like what happened to Owen, you know, uh, and a bunch of other stuff would have been touched upon in future DLC, future what have you, and We're never gonna see that. And as a standalone product, it's incomplete. Um, so yeah, there's that. Um, the mission layouts as well. There maybe 4 or 5 different mechanics that each mission and contract sorry the took a part of, right? There's the, gather the pieces for the relic. There's, scan these things around the map. Uh, there's a kill a bunch of stuff, right? There's not a lot that was going on. There's not a lot of actual gameplay mechanics. They had the structure there for something greater, but there's you're doing the same thing over and over again, and that is probably what contributed to that sense of burnout that I felt yesterday. Because I've played like the Yakuza games, like a Dragon games, for hours on end, straight, right? Because I'm really interested in that universe. Albeit I've waned since the turn based, like a Dragon 8. That's just my personal opinion. I don't really. I tried it. I tried it for a few hours actually on Game Pass, and I didn't like it. So I still have yet to buy it. I know it goes on sale frequently. Maybe I'll try it. Maybe I'll buy it whenever I have the money. It just seems like a waste of money for me because I'm not going to be playing it, right? Not going to be playing it as frequently. It just has to be sitting in my backlog to be like, oh yeah, I have this game. But I could play those games for hours on end, and I've played this game for 30 hours. Some of the other like a Dragon games. Let me pull up right here. First of all, Yakuza 0. I have 89 hours in that game. Yakuza 3, I have 32. Yakuza 4, I have 27. Yakuza 5, I have 53. Yakuza 6, I have 24. Kiwami 2, I have 33 hours. And Kiwami, I have 27 hours. Not only that, you can include the Judgment games, which I have. 47 hours in Judgment. And then Lost Judgment, 89 hours. That has even more, 89.5 hours, even more than Yakuza 0. And I'm currently replaying Yakuza 0. Vaguely. And most of those, it was only Yakuza 4 and 3 that I didn't, that I felt burnt out, and I stopped for like a month. And then I finished the games. That's because they were very early on. But other games like the Judgment games, and Yakuza 0 especially, I sat down and I played those for so long, and I wasn't bored. Right? It's just once I finished the story, I didn't have that much of a drive to continue going back. But I did do a lot of side stories in between the story, right? Um, so a lot of that, like the burnout, had to do with the repetitiveness, right? Because the one thing that took me out of a lot of the thing was the dialogue. I didn't get to experience the dialogue, unfortunately, for every single person, but I did get to resolve some storylines and stuff, and I think that was nice. I think that was nice. Like I said, I think Destiny should improve upon that on their own terms. I mean, Bungie themselves are also at risk, like BioWare, like so many other studios currently. It's not a nice industry right now, and yeah, it's just a complete tragedy. This game, like I see the vision, right? Uh, had I not played this, I would have never known. But I see the vision, and I see what they were going for, and I can imagine how good of a game it would be if they were able to continue that. I would be able to supplement my Destiny, in the off periods of Destiny. I'm in an off period of Destiny, which is why I was able to do this Anthem stuff. Right, I just haven't been too much into Destiny since the final shape, but I have been playing. I have been reaching, the max of my season pass and all that, because that's Destiny. And I know Destiny's on the great position right now, but at least they have, right? At least they have stuff going on. And I think if Activision could have let Destiny survive as long as it did up until Shadowkeep, compare that to EA. Like, what were they doing? Like, what do you mean you're just not gonna let them do that? Let them fix their game, not let them finish it all, right? Maybe Bioware doesn't hold as much clout as Bungie does. Uh, I don't know, but yeah. Let me continue with the bad. Let me see if there's anything else I could bring up. Right. Um. I'm just thinking. Right. It's a lot to think of. I didn't, like I said, I didn't prepare this. Going on 24 minutes now. Um. Some of the mechanics with the gameplay, it felt a little sluggish. A little like my inputs were too slow. Not input lag, but just the animations are too long after you do something. That's another thing. Like I would have wanted a bit more agility, even if I'm playing the interceptor. I feel like I'm locked into uh, a certain animation after doing something like that. That aside, that's a very minor negative. But you can see me. I keep spamming melee while I'm on my Colossus because that's the the quickest thing I could do. A lot of it is just waiting to be able to do damage while there's a million people shooting at you. And I know the Colossus has a lot of health. I could just wait, but I was kind of in a time crunch here. So imagine if I was in a time crunch to finish a mission, right? Before we're going to class, before we're going to work, a whole lot of stuff. It compounds onto it. Like, you know, and that goes back to like the campaign was wasting my time, right? Between story missions, between actually progressing the story. Here's all these tombs of whatever. Who cares? And another thing now, I remember bullet sponge. Bullet sponges. I think at the end, once I got that really broken grenade launcher and the sniper, it wasn't that big of a deal. But I don't think that was intended. I had a feeling that that wasn't intended because I was launching something at hard, which would be, if I was using my current weapons, it would be difficult, right? I'd still be doing better, but it would still be difficult. And I think I'd probably be around 200 something instead of 400 had I not bought those broken weapons, right? Uh, but that one moment when I first interact with a Titan, I'm shooting at it for like 30 minutes. What am I supposed to do? And another thing is the UI. The UI is a little too stylized and a little too restrictive. Uh, you have to go back to the tower equivalent, right? To the fort or the whatever the that one social area that I went to for a second in order to change your weapons, right? And I know they were changing that with Anthem Next. I've looked it up. It's called Anthem Next and not 2.0. Anthem Next was what they were calling it. But that like I feel like that's something that they had to have seen at least. Like, come on, you gotta let us swap our weapons. It's not fun to be stuck with two weapons. And there's too many times where I was like, I wish I didn't choose this weapon. I wish I could have chosen another weapon. And so yeah, with that compounded with the fact that there are a lot of bullet sponges, that Ursix cave when I was on my storm, having to sit there and shoot for damn near an hour probably felt like uh was not fun. It was not fun. But yeah, so I think I'm gonna wrap it up there. My thoughts with Anthem. I just want to say it's been phenomenal playing the game, even with its detractions. I've been having fun. Someone, someone messaged me. I got a notification. That's odd. No idea what that was. Because I just typed. I heard that. I heard the notification sound. Um, maybe someone followed me. I don't know. Someone watching right now. No stream elements. Beats me. Anyways, so yeah, I think I'm gonna wind down here. Those are the bulk of my gripes with the game and what I loved about the game. Like I said, the story was nice until the end. Uh, the missions, right? as far as they go, were fun but repetitive. Uh, the gameplay was really fun, except for the fact that it felt a little clunky at times. I know I was playing the clunky guy, but even on the other things, right? And it seemed unbalanced, right? Like I said, I resorted to Colossus and all that coalesces into a game that was fun but deeply flawed. And I think that it should have been given a chance to, even if it would have taken 2 years, whatever. I can wait. I've been waiting. I've waited 6 years, right? For I've been waiting. When was the five? When did I play Half Life 2? Like 2014. I've been waiting 12 years for Half Life 3, and it seems that it might be coming out this year. They say that about every year, but now it's like it's a damn near guarantee that there's gonna be a new Half Life game. I don't know if it's Half Life 3 specifically, but it is essentially. We don't know because of the RAM prices and all that. Like I said, the economy's fucked. The world is in a really weird place right now. Uh, you know, a lot of stuff. It's very the world's unstable, and we're going. I'm not gonna touch on that, but you know, I've been waiting for so long. For me, COVID was so rough that like last year was 2019. I didn't even know that the Anthem next stuff when it was canceled was in 2021. Right? When I was thinking about it, I was thinking, oh, maybe that was like 2023, last year, maybe. No, it was 5 years ago, almost. No updates since then, and you know, deeply flawed game. It should have been given a chance. It should have been, there's a massive amount of potential that this game has. Potential. I don't want to say meet the potential game because it is a fun game, and I think it is a good game. And here's the moment you've been waiting for: my final review, my final score of the game as a whole. I'm not going to be giving it individual points. I'm not a professional reviewer. As a game, as experience, I'm trying to not make a 6-7 joke, but around 6.75 out of 10 is my current review, my current state. It's a good game. And I mean that in the purest, like if you're making a grade, it's a passing grade. It's actually a good, like a 60, 65%, 67%, uh, near a 7, but not quite. And that is just mostly because of the attractions to the game. The game has a bit of a dated UI, not the UI itself. The UI is very stylized and it's very confusing at first. But the by UI I mean like the ease of access, the quality of life that isn't there is one of the main detractors. The campaign, you know, they wrote out Owen very quickly. I know they wanted to do stuff more. They were setting up stuff with that, but I feel like that's something that should have been resolved in the campaign as well. At least, I guess there's a minor sort of resolution, and we don't really see it. Like the campaign definitely felt like it was gonna be more. There was gonna be more to it, um, and they filled what would have been the campaign length with fetch quests and the likes. So yeah, around 6.75, 6.8, I'll round it to so I don't make a 6-7 joke. Out of 10, not a 7, close. It's like a high, if you Anthony Fantano, I don't watch him, but he does like a low 6, a high 6, it's a high 6. An 6, I'm kidding. But yeah, and it's just so frustrating. I'm not gonna be able to continue this, right? I was actually looking forward to doing a last bit of gameplay, and that's that. So I appreciate anyone watching this VOD on my YouTube channel. I don't usually show my face or my voice on the thing aside from the funny, but that's just learned. A learned sort of anti-social behavior because I used to pretend that I was older back in the day, and I was only like 12 years old. I'm sure most people knew, but I didn't. You know, I'm 24 years old now. It doesn't matter, and I don't care about any criticism I get myself. Even though I tend to be very critical, you know I try to be better. But yeah, I thank you so much for watching. Anyone watching, anyone, even so much as I don't think anyone's gonna watch through 30 hours of gameplay, uh, etc. Maybe one day I'll go back and get someone to edit my whole gameplay and all that. But there's so much I'd have to look through. 30 hours of gameplay. That's screwed up. Um. So yeah, that's the end of my streaming career for now. I'm not gonna be streaming anything else, to my opinion, to my knowledge. The main reason for streaming this is not because I wanted to make a breakout and become a brand new streamer, or anything like that. The reason why I was streaming was, oh, two viewers. How's it going? No, that's just me. Okay, I don't know what's going. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on at all. Uh, let me refresh here. I feel like whatever. Who knows? But yeah, I didn't want to make breakout streaming whatever setup. I'm not gonna be going into streaming or anything. The main reason why is because I knew I wanted to be able to see every single aspect of this game, because I'm not gonna be able to play it again. Likely, never gonna be able to play it again. Maybe, hopefully, a large company that is, you know, sees the vision, maybe rehires some of the original devs and revives the game. That's always a possibility, but I don't see that happening in the near future. I don't even see that happening at all. That's very unlikely. But if it does happen, that'd be nice. And then I would have to have this giant group of streams on my YouTube channel. I was debating making a streaming channel, a Beefy Live thing, to put all my stream videos on there, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, right? So yeah, it was all just to document my game, because I won't be able to go back and play it, and I don't want to save all that on my PC. I'm already struggling with space. I have a bunch of hard drives, right? But I'm struggling with space. I have an external hard drive here. About half. This is 2 terabytes. About half of that is just game clips alone, and I couldn't even imagine how big the files would be if I was recording the game. Uh, you know, if I was recording the game directly to my hard drives. I might have the space, if I'm recording in 1080p and all that, but I didn't want to deal with that. And Twitch has a direct export to YouTube. It's been bugging out, right? And it's frustrating because I keep having to re-upload it and all that. It's gotten on my nerves, but it's scheduled, and it's out of order on my YouTube channel. What's with that, YouTube? What's with the scheduled posts showing up before they were supposed to be scheduled? Maybe I have to set them for premiere. I don't want to set them for premiere because people are going to think that I'm late, that I'm live, that I'm live, and if they stumble upon it, so whatever. It's no issue. Just trying to look for the name. Day 1, day 2, day 3, day 3 part 2, day 4, day 4 bonus stream. No, day 4, day 5, day 5 bonus stream. That's the thing. And then this is my final thoughts. This will be coming out on the 16th, I think. Just releasing once per day. Maybe someone will watch it, who knows? Because maybe people might want it for the ambient. I don't think they want to hear me breathing. So, big thanks to this direct mic to my mouth during, I wouldn't say allergy season, because it's like this every single season except for summer. So, at least I dug out my Yeti for this, and I noticed my Yeti isn't as good quality as I remembered. And I think that's because it's right next to the PC, so every time I talk, it brings in audio from the PC and then it fades out and it sounds very weird. And now I'm at one viewer. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Maybe someone was just watching my stream without all that. But it didn't show that in my viewer stream, so without being logged in. Anyways, so yeah, if you enjoyed watching, unfortunately, I'm probably not gonna be streaming anymore. Like I said, I've done streams before. I mean, I would like to do streaming if I wanted to, if people wanted to watch me, but at the same time, that's a bit of a hassle. I'm focused on school right now, right? Because I'm already way behind in what I should be doing right now. So focus on school. I'm in between employment right now, so I'm looking for a job too. So I'm gonna be too busy to stream on my own time. So I just so happened to be I had a free week. I had a free week, free 2 weeks actually. So the rest of the week, I'll probably be playing Hightail. I'm gonna try that out. Um, so yeah, I appreciate anyone watching this. This is probably going out into the ether, and nobody's ever gonna watch this. But if you do watch it, it's very nice. It's mostly just for me, right? When I do stuff like this, big projects like this, it's for me. I have a book that I'm writing, right? Uh, and there's certain aspects of that I want to do. That's kind of corny, that's kind of cheesy, that's kind of stupid, but I'm doing it for me and not for the reader, right? The reader will have to read what I like to read, what I like to write about. Uh, so those are my thoughts on Anthem. 6.8 out of 10 game. It's a game that did not get to redeem itself, and that's upsetting, frustrating, and depressing. Uh, so thank you for watching.